Well, certain football players are at it again. Kneeling, now raising the black power fist. They're staying in the locker room. Now, this is really a handful of teams. This didn't happen with the Redskins, as an example, last night. But there are players and teams in which this is taking place. And we've talked about this a lot. We've explained that this has nothing to do with free speech under the Constitution, since this has nothing to do with the government. That this isn't how you behave if you're patriotic. When you know you're upsetting people who've served in the military, whether you have or not, and you think it's fine, the fact is there's a lot of people who have served in the military, who put their lives on the line, and many have been maimed, who are appalled by this. So exactly who are you sending a message to? I mean, quite seriously, who are you sending a message to? I heard Dante Stallworth say, the president was wrong when he said these guys don't know what they're talking about, that he's obviously not paying attention. Well, I'll say they don't know what they're talking about. They have all kinds of different messages. There's a time and place for everything. And their salaries should be withheld. They're employees. Color's irrelevant. They're employees. They don't own the stadium. They don't own the teams. You need a team. No private workforce could tolerate this. Even all those sportscasters on ESPN, on NBC, on Fox, and elsewhere, who defend this. If their crew members started taking a knee, that sort of thing, you know full well that they wouldn't like it then. Well, they're taking a knee. There's a social justice issue, or the cops were bad, or something or other. They're taking a knee. No, they're disrupting a broadcast, just like they're disrupting an NFL game. But they don't care, because they're narcissists. They're used to getting what they want. That's the truth. Many athletes are. Not all, but too many. Michael Hayden on CNN. Is this the former CIA guy, Mr. Producer? Well, of course we need to know what he thinks about this. He's gotten weird. I should say weirder over time. Here he is commenting on this to somebody named John. Cut 9, go.
I'm as irritated as the next fan. I view those 3 hours as my politics-free 3 hours of the week. But, you know, you've got to rack and stack your values. And my irritation... All right,
stop. I've got to rack and stack your values. Where do they get these stupid thoughts from? You got to rack and stack your values? Go ahead.
With some fundamental issues that are at stake here, including free speech. And these...
All right, idiot. This isn't free speech. This guy was director of the CIA, and he doesn't even know what the Constitution means. He has no concept of the First Amendment. This is not free speech. If you do things in the workplace, you can be fired. You don't have a right to free speech in the workplace. Otherwise, there's no organization. There's anarchy. There's no discipline. There's anarchy. There's no productivity. There's anarchy. Let's take it this way. What if we had the men and women on an assembly line building cars, and they decide they're going to take a knee? They'd be fired because they're holding up production. There's a time and place for everything. I don't even agree with their stupid protests. There's no systemic this or systemic that in this country. There's no oppression in this country. Yeah, I said it. There is no, listen, follow the bouncing ball, liberals. There is no oppression in this country. You may not like certain things. You may think things are unfair, but that's the nature of a free society. It's imperfect. But we defeated oppression. We defeated slavery. We defeated segregation, as Shelby Steele says. This is baloney. This is crap. And to do it this way is even worse. Go ahead.
wanting to express themselves about what they view to be a serious...
They don't get to express themselves in that forum, in that environment. All of us have to show some self-control depending on what form and environment we are in. This isn't about individuals and their individual narcissism or their individual politics or their individual civil rights movement or anything else. That's not what this is. Individuals want to express themselves. Any 3-year-old is taught there's place and time for everything. You don't just get to express yourself. Go ahead.
Problem. And so I expected this. I expect the president to tweet. But, you know, I don't know that more than a third...
This guy is a rambling idiot. And where do we get these CIA directors from? It's scary as hell. Got this clown, Brennan. Well, he served in the military. Well, fine. He's still an idiot. Go ahead.
Who agree with the president? Even among veterans? Mm-hmm. This is a split decision. When this first hit...
Excuse me. Why don't you ask my father what he thinks? He's a veteran. And I suspect most veterans are disgusted by this. But let's say it's a third of them. It's still wrong. But then again, these are private businesses. They're not taking polls of veterans or anybody else. They're running a business. You're getting paid a lot of money. Go ahead.
In October, I did actually take a look statistically as where veterans were, and there's a generational gap. Vietnam veterans seem to be offended by this. Iraq and Afghan veterans, not so much. And, John, I'm a 39-year veteran. I may be irritated at the players, but I don't think they're unpatriotic.
Well, I think they are unpatriotic. What do you think of that? When they're being told time and time again that they're upsetting people. And they specifically picked the national anthem to do it. And what are they getting? Where are they getting with this? I don't even understand. They're getting nothing. This thing has fallen completely on their multiple faces. It is, but of course, the president tweets, that means he must be a racist, you see. And who knows better than Cornell Brooks, former president and CEO of the NAACP. He's on CNN, too. CNN just loves this stuff. Go ahead.
The president is essentially saying that American citizens who are standing up for their rights under the Constitution are too stupid, too ignorant, unable to articulate what, in fact, they're standing against.
Well, what are they standing against? I don't believe there's a united message, genius. Go ahead.
These players know full well that a young black man is 21 times more likely to lose his life at the hands of the police than his white counterpart.
No. They know that a black young man is more likely than not, if he's killed, he's going to be killed by another black young man. Why do you not explain that, sir? But that's not even the point either. You know, what's interesting about that is you see the slaughter that took place in Chicago, right? Absolute slaughter that goes on there in the weekends. It's like a war zone. It is horrific. How do these mothers and fathers raise their kids in this environment? How do they go to school? How do they learn anything? It's horrific. You don't know if your kid's going to come back alive or not. Or if you're sitting in the living room, they're going to get shot by a stray bullet. Is somebody taking a knee for that? White policemen shooting black young men? It's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. This is just so ridiculous. The NAACP, this is the former president and CEO of the NAACP, deflecting. Go ahead.
Players understand full well that police misconduct goes on unchecked in this country. And
No, it doesn't. There is some police misconduct. Some of it may go unchecked. Most of it doesn't. And most police are not involved in misconduct. That's a fact. Now we see what's going on in Baltimore. Crime is through the roof because they have marginalized the police there. And who suffers? The people in these communities, most of whom are minorities. Other people who have the money, they get the hell out. Go ahead.
Bodies are essentially the punching bags of bad policing and police unaccountability.
You know, you are a nasty propagandist, sir. Yes, you are. Nasty. The way you generalize about other human beings, the way you generalize about police officers. You're a radical. You're a leftist. So you don't mind. Go ahead. Take a knee. Do push-ups. Stand on your head. Do whatever you want to do, football players. Standing up for injustice. And that's the place to do it, right there at a football game. That'll have maximum effect. People are turned off by this. It's having no effect. What would be interesting is if all these guys taking a knee, if all their names could be taken down, and then you follow them on the off season and see what the hell they're doing about social injustice, about inequality, about the cops. Go ahead.
The president knows that. But our commander-in-chief is, in fact, the racial opportunist-in-chief in this country.
There you go. You see, by condemning what's taking place, first of all, he's not supposed... Everyone has free speech but the president, right? Any nudnik can get on their knee, and that's free speech. That has to be protected, they tell us. But the president of the United States commenting on it, troubled by it, the commander-in-chief, he's a racist because he dares to do it. How about the guys taking knees? Are they racists? No. You don't understand. No, I don't understand. So the president should shut up because he's racializing this. And yet this guy just racialized the whole thing. Go ahead.
Using this issue to stir his base. In other words, he's using race...
He doesn't need to use this issue to stir his base. Are you suggesting, sir, that there aren't Democrats who are upset by this? There are. Everybody's not a radical left-wing kook in the Democrat Party, apart from the leadership. There's a lot of Democrats and independents who are disgusted by this. There's a lot of Democrats who served in the military. A lot of them are old-time Democrats. That's stirring his base. Maybe you're stirring your base in the Democrat Party by racializing this. Go ahead. Shut up. You know what? Enough of him. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.